And for our last presentation, I'd like to invite Meeta Baduri with the nonprofit organization Maitri to turn on her camera and join us for a special recognition. October is widely recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this recognition launched nationwide in October of 1987 to connect individuals and organizations working on domestic violence issues while raising awareness around the country. Sunnyvale has received 213 related domestic violence calls this year alone through September 30th. That's almost a call a day. And nationwide, that skyrockets to about 20,000 phone calls placed to domestic violence hotlines on a typical day. So domestic violence affects not only the victim, but their children, their families, and their friends. It knows no economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, or societal barriers. So Maitri is a free, confidential, nonprofit organization based in San Francisco Bay Area that primarily helps families and individuals from South Asia facing domestic violence, emotional abuse, cultural alienation, or family conflict. They offer an array of client services as well as community programs to support and bring awareness to the domestic violence that is often unspoken in our South Asian community. So Meeta is a volunteer with Maitri and is here with us tonight to share a bit more about the organization and its work. Meeta, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you very much, Mayor Klein. I have been a resident of Sunnyvale since '96, and I came to the US straight to Sunnyvale from India. So this has been the city that I have been in straight out of my country, and I have done all my immigration journey right here. And as part of my journey, I have been a tech engineer. I work at Microsoft currently. And I have also been volunteering with Maitri. So I can actually read out an article whenever you are ready to let me start.
Go right ahead.
All right. So good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members, and members of the public. Today, I stand here as an advocate for victims and survivors of domestic violence, and thank you for adopting the proclamation to commemorate October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I represent Maitri, an organization devoted to serving victims and survivors of domestic violence, and want to take a few moments to talk about an epidemic that is pervasive in our home, cities, state, country, and all over the world. Domestic violence is an ill that exists in all communities, irrespective of culture, religion, sexual orientation, financial status, and immigration realities. The need for a comprehensive plan to address domestic violence in our communities is very urgent, and we thank the City of Sunnyvale for providing much needed assistance in many areas, as well as a request to step up the effort. I request the City Council to consider the following: enact and support policies that address an intersectional approach to addressing domestic violence, homelessness, pay equity, poverty reduction, to name a few. Support funding for domestic violence service providers at the federal, state, country, and city levels. Rethink law enforcement responses to crisis situations with a special focus on stopping brutality against people of color. Evaluate and improve language access at city facilities. Offer training on cultural responsiveness to various local government employees and agencies. Involve non-governmental organizations as thought partners while planning city activities. Uplift the voices of the minority groups wherever possible, as they lack representation in committees and other policy-making spaces. To the community members, I urge you to recognize domestic violence as a pressing issue. Exemplify healthy relationships for the children at home. Elect leaders and policies that contribute towards building a just and equitable future for all of us. We've been living through 2020 in a pandemic, raging fire and climate change induced extreme weather in California. Whereas these extraneous circumstances have turned many lives upside down, we remember the most vulnerable, victims and survivors of domestic violence. Increased requests for intervention and legal remedies over the past few months have shed light on the ongoing need for resources. Last year, in a single day, 76,586 individuals reached out to seek help with domestic violence-related help. And in California, the number is as high as 6,000 people a day. There have never been a more poignant time for prevention-focused activities. State-based responses, community-based organizations, and members of the community in general, we all have our part to play. Thank you very much for your time.
Meeta, on behalf of the Sunnyvale City Council, and gratitude for all the work that Maitri does in support of those experiencing intimate partner violence, it is my pleasure to have you join us as we proclaim the month of October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So thank you for all that you and your organization does for residents in need in our community. Thanks.
Thank you on behalf of Maitri. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, next is oral communications. So members of the public will now have an opportunity